Where is Sir Suleiman? There he is.
Where am I?
Yo!
Hello. Should I move myself? I'm watching myself in like the angle. Do I go down this way?
You gotta crouch down. I'm sorry.
There we go.
You must have been crouching when I cropped you. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to Behind the Sticks. We're missing a sound boy this week. He couldn't make it. He might spot in later after the break. But I'm joined by my co-host Sully. How you doing, Sully?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. We're chilling out here. Nice Easter Sunday. How about you?
I'm doing great this year. And we are joined.
I keep forgetting Easter.
I literally keep forgetting, bro. We are joined by prestigious guest EndingWalker, who I'm pretty certain is currently competing in Submine League Top 8 on stream. How you doing, Ender? You having a good time?
Yeah.
I think currently playing Mad Dominant. So this week we're going to talk a little bit about EndingWalker's experiences. Capcom Cup. We're going to talk a little bit Street Fighter 6, and we're going to talk about a little bit the landscape moving into Street Fighter 6. First question, I kind of just want to put it on the table. We can start the discussion. How did Capcom Cup, the experience of Capcom Cup, did that make you more excited for Street Fighter 6 going into it, thinking, damn, this was such a big experience for me. I'm moving into Street Fighter 6. Do you want to do more now that you've had a Capcom Cup under your belt?
I want to qualify for it again next. Like, if I can qualify for it on the first year, that would be kind of huge because everybody is going to be playing.
Like, and from that, are you planning to travel to more things? Because I know you already signed up for Head Stomper, and you've signed up for. Did you sign up for Brussels Challenge? Versus Fighting, that was it. So you've got 2 events locked in currently. Is there anything else you would realistically travel to? I'm talking across world as well. So would you go to different countries like Japan, US, so on and so forth? Like, which events have you kind of got on the map that you'd really want to go to?
I'd rather just stick to E1s as much as possible, but like we'll see. Because like really long flights, like the one that would be to go to CEO, for example, would be not that fun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that makes sense, and also we've got a very good selection of like majors here in EU as well. Like just mentioning like Brussels Challenge and like Head Stomp. Well, Head Stomp will be my first time going. So like see you there, EndingWalker. But like I've only heard good things about it, and Brussels Challenge has been like specifically like consistently like my favorite experience at a tournament.
I've tried to go to that.
100%. You should definitely. That's not the one to miss out. I think that'll be like. I think Versus Fighting will probably still be the biggest one because that's the first big EU major.
Yeah, generally the biggest we have.
Brussels Challenge will definitely rival that.
Yeah. But I'd say, like, to Capcom Cup wise, it was a fun experience, but I think that the best news was the news that came at the end of it.
Yo, yeah.
The money. Talking about the money, right? Do you think the competition, like I feel like a lot of people always overhype this, right? But do you think because there's more money, there's going to be more competition? Because I don't personally think the landscape of who's the best is going to change that much. But people on Twitter and such make a really big deal out of it. Make a big deal.
Competition-wise, I actually don't know if there'll be much more. There'll be a lot more people playing. But
there'll definitely be more people playing.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know if there'll be more competition though, because all of the people who have actually put time and effort into the game are going to still do well. Whereas the people who are just kind of entering because they saw, there's tons of money now, I'm just going to try and have a pick at this. It's not going to necessarily increase the level of competition very much.
I mean, I think, sorry not to cut quite off there, but I do think like in terms of like the 1 million, it's kind of like the lottery where like, you know what I mean? It doesn't. If they announce like a 500k prize, you're gonna be like, oh, cool, they got a prize of 100. But like if they prize like 1 million, like even like the most like average, like, the guy who's never won a local will be like, oh man, maybe I should try my hand at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's only when you get like guys like who are really good at other fighting games, like say Latif, for example, or Sonic Fox, saying they're gonna get into it. It's when you should start being really worried because they are very good at fighting games and everybody knows it. So they will probably be good at it and, be good competition.
Yeah, that makes more sense. It's very much like the Wii U, right? When there's big money on the line, it's the people from other games that are going to cross over and be like, you know what? I think it's time I try my hand in this because I want that money, and there's a really good chance I'll be able to get it. But yeah, I think for the general populace, it's probably not as big of a thing. But I've definitely seen a lot of posts from people. Like, I think Sully made a tweet about this earlier about like, old guards, right? People who say, "Oh, I'm sick of Third Strike, bro. I'm coming back for it. I'm coming back for 6. I want the money." Yeah, like that tends to get overhyped, right? Because I think a lot of these people probably aren't killers in the newer games or the older games, honestly.
I would agree with that because it's like if you weren't good at 5, there was probably a reason for it.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think it's okay to not gel with the game, But if you're like saying, but when if you're not gelling with the game, that's fine. But if you're not gelling with the game, but you're somehow trying to blame that on the game, like that shows like a severe, like in my opinion, like some sort of like limitation on like your like ability, like your just general game sense. Because usually you just be like, I'm just not feeling it. But if you're saying like, oh no, like I can't play because I can't whiff punish as much as I used to, that just shows that you just can't like figure out a new game.
Yeah, you ain't got to grips with it yet. And talking of new games as well, we want to talk about like your learning process, right? Because obviously in the last what is it, like 3 years now? I can't remember how long it's been, but since you've been around, you've made leaps and bounds in how good you are, right? In Street Fighter 6 and in Street Fighter 5, I suppose, what was the learning process, right, to get as good as possible within the span of time that you did? And how are you going to move into Street Fighter 6 using that same process or adjusting that process?
It's basically just play. Don't get hit by the same thing. Make notes on what you can do better. So, like for example, if I was getting jumped on loads, I would write myself a note and just make sure I hit every answer.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so it's like I'm getting hit by this.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like lots of lab work. Make sure you can answer gimmick stuff. And don't make the same mistakes tons.
That's about simple as, yeah, like it makes sense, but like that's just how most people do it. Like how did you improve, Boggins, when you were like grinding Street Fighter 5?
Oh man, that was a longer winding road. I mean, like I feel like it was. I'm not gonna say it was a lot harder for me, but you know me, I couldn't play online, bro. My internet sucked. But I didn't really have any resources when I was trying to improve, and I can generally bounce off of stuff quite easily. So that if someone tells me something, I can be like, "Oh, dude, thanks for telling me that. I'm stupid. I didn't realize that." So
I'll be like, "Hey, I can do that for this."
Exactly.
Oh, so obvious. Why didn't I know?
Like there's a lot of like hidden concepts in fighting games. I don't know if you had this, EndingWalker, when you were learning the game, but you know, like the mental stack, just like the general mental stack.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I was doing that when I was learning, but because no one told me, like, oh, bro, are you thinking about the mental stack? I wasn't really thinking too much about it, right? It was just kind of something that, like, my head was doing, and I was getting very flustered with better players because I wasn't, like consciously thinking, oh, I should be controlling my mental stack better, you know? Oh, he's dashing a lot, let me start checking dashes. And you mentioned it, right? He's jumping a lot, let me anti-air more. I wasn't really doing that too much, and when I started to improve, I started to, you know, consciously make decisions based around my mental stack more, and that made me go leaps and bounds better than I was back in the day. But, like,
I think.
How did you approach it, Sully? Like, because
see, for me, I picked like various like portions of my game, like one section at a time, to try and like figure out. For example, like it was like anti-airing. I would just go into a match, and just like only look for jump-ins. And like I would try and keep my ground game like as simple as possible.
Yeah.
But from that point, I'm just thinking like just keep thinking about jump-ins, and that's how I got better at anti-air and stuff like that. When it came to like getting better at just general offense, I think I found what I was doing was very much kind of I knew that I wanted to be able to like pressure someone and get them into the corner, but the way I was going around that, I wasn't simplifying it enough. So I was like doing a lot of dashes, doing a lot of faff and whatnot, and a lot of just mindless movement. So I think when I just found that, okay, just do one frame trap. Did it work? Did it not? Okay, go back to neutral. And I've just simplifying the game like that is probably how I started getting better at the game. Because when you stop thinking about so much about particular like interactions you have with other characters, then you leave yourself more open to react to the game as it's happening. So I think that was for me.
One of the things that you had in it that I want to ask if EndingWalker has, you mentioned to me, it was quite a while back, you said that when you were trying to sweat at this game, right, when you were trying to get as good as you can, you had a spreadsheet.
I do have a spreadsheet, yeah.
Do you have a spreadsheet for anyone, EndingWalker, like to learn your characters?
On a lot of people. I haven't got any spreadsheets, but I have a lot of notes on people.
Okay. So I'm assuming that like the way that you approach like improvement and being able to beat people changes, like the landscape changes when you're playing someone world class, right? So I assume you go in differently to say someone like Mal Dominant, you go in a little bit less prepared than you would do for someone like Takedo, right? So like what would your note-taking approach be for someone like Takedo, right? So I'm talking like a world class.
All of their replays.
All of the replays.
All the replays.
Because like at that point, right, it becomes more about beating the player, right, rather than just being good at the game. You have to learn the tendencies of that player.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And for 6, do you think you're going to have to change the approach at all because of the way that the game plays? Because I'd say that 6 is quite mechanical, right? You have to. It's much more kind of in tune with the mechanics. From frame 1, you've got access to everything. So do you think you're gonna have to change your approach in Street Fighter 6 at all, or do you think you may have to go, exactly the same as you have with Street Fighter 5?
Yeah, it's gonna be probably exactly the same. Like, I think in terms of being good at the game, though, is not going to be dictated by your character as much.
Yeah, I can see
I think
that.
it's going to be more how good are you with the mechanics than anything else.
I think so as well. I was just gonna ask, did you by any chance watch the Intel World Open tournament? With like it was an invitational. I had like NuckleDo, Punk, IDOM, and Nephew.
I did not watch it, but I did hear of it, and yeah,
it was a very good match. It was just as you said. Punk performed quite well. However, Nephew ended up taking it, but just mainly because he demonstrated a lot better, drive meter management and stuff like that. So he was very, it's very like as you said, like what decides who's strong will most likely be down to
it was
better better meter management. And are you generally just about to be maldominant?
Let's go! Oh man, this shit's great, bro. I love this.
Alright, well done to EndingWalker taking it over Maldominant.
Winners finals.
Winners finals, baby. Let's go.
My days.
Right, so after that win, I'm going to segue. Sully's disappeared again. I don't know why. After that win, I'm going to segue into the next question that we had prepped for you, which was: I'm not sure if you've ever explained it to anyone, but like, how did you actually get into SF? Right, like, where did the start come from?
Basically, a friend just asked me, "Do you want to like Their brother got them into Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
And we played Minecraft a lot for reference.
Okay.
And they said, okay, do you want to try this game? And I said, okay. And then it was a free weekend, so I got into it from that.
Oh, okay.
So I played literally about 10,000 or more Battle Lounge matches with them.
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah,
so what part hooked you? Like, how do you like? What was the point where you're like, oh man, I like this game?
The game was just really jank because it was like season 3 or season 4, so you could just, and I liked how much, like, with a lot of games, if you are good at them, you will win like 99 and 100% of the time, whatever.
Yeah.
But in this game, it doesn't matter how good you are, you will always lose.
Yeah, you're always going to lose some of the games, right? It doesn't matter how good you are. Like 1 in 100, you're going to fold.
But it's also your responsibility to make sure you don't lose.
Yeah.
Whereas in certain, like, FPS games, or like Battle Royale games, for example, I don't like them because they're just too random.
Yeah.
And it's like, with Street Fighter, you might lose because somebody was random, but it's your responsibility to make sure you know how to shut that down. So you never really lost to anything but yourself as such.
I mean, we were talking about earlier, right? We mentioned Overwatch before the show started. It's like, with Overwatch, there are elements that you aren't in control of, and you can lose a game because of them. You're on tank and your DPS are bad. It's kind of GG at the end of the day. You can't really do anything
DPS
about
and your
that.
supports, just ignore it.
Yeah, and if you play a fighting game though, and you lose to Balrog, and you're playing, I don't know, let's say playing Ryu, it's like, okay, I can approach that differently, and this is mostly my responsibility. It's the reason I lost, right? And that's the big reason of why I got into them as well. So we have a very similar reason of getting into these things.
There's also always more stuff to learn, which is nice, because, and it's not like really locked stuff either, like, really advanced movement tech in CS:GO or whatever. It's like there's always just another situation that you can like test and lab and find something new to do.
Oh yeah,
which is cool.
You've always got things to do.
That's the main element I like, is there's always something new to learn that's actually interesting.
So I never really considered that in terms, cause it's not often you hear someone like get into fighting games like recently and then like still end up enjoying it and getting into like high level, because usually you hear stories about like whenever there's a good fighting game player, it's like I haven't played since I was 2 and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it does make me think a lot about like when like Street Fighter 6 comes out, or when Project L comes out, whenever that may be. People that come from other genres, which like I'm gonna be honest, EndingWalker is like the first like like example of someone coming in fresh to fighting games and just liking Street Fighter 5 and just like hitting the ground running essentially. It does make me think about how much more often that will happen, given like how Street Fighter 6 has been a lot more well received, and like Project L in the future. So I do think a lot about it, because I think like at least I do think there's a bit of hubris that comes with like a lot of fighting game players, that when people think like, because there is very high entry barrier in terms of just learning the basics and learning moves and whatnot, but I do think people kind of just like people underestimate how much commitment people have to get good at their games. in my opinion.
That leads into a really good question, right? Because I don't know if you keep up with many other games in terms of like the fighting game scene, and but like a big thing that developers do right now is go like, oh, you know, we wish we could have made this game easier. We wish we could have made this game more simple to learn and get into.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, right? Like, did you find any fighting game like difficult to get into, right? Because you picked Ed, which is the simple inputs, but I've
started with Ryu.
Oh, you started with Ryu. Oh, I remember.
I was a Ryu main for quite a while. I only picked Ed because Ed was crap when I picked him for one thing. But I picked Ed because he just felt like Ryu with more creativity.
More creativity. Because I remember mentioning this to you in DMs. I was like, "Oh, did you pick Ed because of the inputs rate?" You were like, "No, I just find him interested."
He's just fun, yeah. It's just interesting. Like, he's got a lot of spacings. That's why I don't like the new X-Flicker stuff, because they removed a lot of his thinking by adding that. Because before you'd actually have to recognize the spacing, choose what combo to do. Choose if you want to damage, stun, or Oki.
Yep.
Whereas now, because also everything's way more consistent, you don't have to eyeball spacing very much, and his V trigger's just so broken. Like before guard crush, I don't like the guard crush stun.
I don't like the crush.
Not just because it's broken, but because before it was a genuine I'm gonna do this to get you to spend your V gauge.
Spend the resources.
Yeah, you will have to. You either hold my throw or you V reversal, and I get rid of your V trigger.
Yeah.
Which is actually a good thing. They should have just made it so that his V trigger 2 was 2 bars, but has way less uses and doesn't guard crush.
Yeah, significantly less charges and no guard crush.
Yeah, so you can use it more as just a combo extender and something but only once, rather than having 3 different uses or 4 different uses of it to combo extend. So you get maybe 1 stand heavy punch, stand medium punch, catch phase, V trigger, down V trigger, rather than having an extra pressure after that.
Oh yeah,
and you can't just spam it in neutral.
Yeah, I can't say I was a huge fan of the V trigger 2 changes. What you mentioned there, there are a lot of tools where that's a thing, right? Like EX Zonk on Cody, you do that, and it's like, okay, spend the VR, right? If I'm level 2 EX Zonk and you've blocked it, spend the VR to get me off of you, or I'm getting the mix up.
Activation.
Yeah, exactly. So there are things that I had to think about. Honestly, branching off of that, we're not getting another patch for Street Fighter 5, right? But I think it would be interesting. Sadly. It would be interesting to hear, what do you think, as an Ed player, right? What do you think would be good changes for the character? Because at the moment, I've said it on the show quite a few times, I think Ed is, in terms of the game balance, I think he's one of the most poorly designed characters at the moment. I really don't like all decisions. Yeah. What would you do to Ed right now?
Make Flicker unsafe if not cancelled into from a normal. So Power Flicker is now -4.
Oh, okay.
Or -5 or whatever. So you actually have to space it, you can't just do it in their face. But if you do, crash mean kick Flicker, it's still -2 because it's cancelled into from a normal.
Yeah.
Make Flicker have a her box.
Okay. Please God.
Maybe slightly decrease the recovery, or increase the recovery after the active frames a little bit. If you're not gonna actually saying that, you can actually just jump it on reaction if you're very tight with the spacing. They just need to give it an extended hurt box.
Yeah, the hurt box.
And if they made it, they need to make it so it pulls you in on block, so that you can't backdash as easily.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That'd be a good one as well, actually.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, right now you just crash and kick a backdash. Oh, wait, I'm out. I'm not actually -2. You're -2. And that would also make it a lot easier for people to take the turn back with lights.
Take the turn back.
Because Ed has one of the best 4 frames in the game.
Yeah, you can do crouching light punch after it a lot, Carney, and beat out a lot of responses, which is kind of annoying.
I think Flicker on block into crouch jab into another Flicker into Flicker EX follow up. That's easily one of the most tilting sequences that will happen in any that will damage that will damage anyone's mental. You could be dominating that entire match. If that happens to you, you're like, oh man, Ed's just too much.
It's not the best.
Oh no, it's rough.
It's also nerf his stun.
Nerf the stun, okay.
He should be 1,000 stun, and he should either be 1,000 health and 1025 stun, or 1,000. Is
he a 1025 or is he a 1050 on the stun?
1050 stun, 1025 health.
Oh god, yeah, I don't
know. He's tanky as hell.
Yeah, he's tanky though. That's crazy.
Yeah, big boy.
I was thinking I think his stand medium kick is a bit
Oh yeah, his stamina kick is disgusting.
Yeah, I find that button quite ignorant myself. I find it it stops my button and just in the ground as well. It's just pick one. Either be a good anti-hero, maybe good in the ground. I'm not having. Yeah, I'm not having to be good at both.
Anti-hero ability should just they removed cross-up anti-airs for the most part.
Yeah.
All they need to do is they need to make his stamina kick anti-air not be cross-cuttable.
Yeah, like give it the tagline in the hitbox where it says like this can't hit cross-ups, it can't hit people behind him.
No crossovers, so you can't autocorrect it. Because Ed's supposed to be like fairly weak to cross-ups, except if you do his slow up kicks. And it's even actually no, they buffed him his weakness to cross-ups by giving him down B skill 2, which actually does hit.
Oh yeah, that goes behind us, isn't it?
And they buffed down B skill 1. But what they've just kept doing is he had weaknesses before.
Yeah.
And they've given him or buffed other tools that get rid of those weaknesses, but haven't removed the other things that kind of made up for those weaknesses. So he's just gotten, like, for example, Flicker before, low risk, low reward poke.
Yeah, low risk, low reward.
You just spam it and it's basically safe and it's hard to miss space or whatever. Or like, he'd have combo inconsistencies and he still can't really whiff punish that well. But they gave him so many new things that, like, it doesn't matter if he can't whiff punish because he can just hit you with Flicker randomly and it might catch an extended normal and EX thing will combo. That and his EX Fireball being +8 is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I always forget that one. it's a bit stupid.
It's +8 because it makes it a true block string. So if you do EX Fireball, crouch medium kick, it's a real block string, so you can't DP, which is, good. But it shouldn't be, his Spark should not have as much pushback. Like, you can do crouch first spark, and not many characters can contest it very well.
Can do anything about it, yeah.
And the delayed fireball is also broken.
Yeah, it's wild because you mentioned before that obviously Street Fighter is not getting like another balance patch. One thing that surprised me about like this game, right, is that they didn't do an addition select towards the end of the game's lifetime. I think I thought that'd have been like a really fun thing to do because it would be fun to try and like gauge like the strongest characters in every season, like up against, you know what I mean, like season 5 Ed versus like season 2 Balrog. Who you got?
Probably season 2 Balrog. Wasn't he broken then?
Season 2 Balrog was ignorant. Yeah.
He was broken.
Final tap took way less time to charge, right?
Final tap. It took the same amount, but you only needed level 4 tap before it became like very much like a game changer.
Upper body invincibility plus on block. Throw invincible, I think, as well. It did a lot of stuff.
It was throw invincible, yeah, and like you could just fling about like level 7 tap was the one that all you needed to land once, and then you just won the round essentially. So you rarely needed final.
So most of the changes you highlighted there, they were around the flicker, right? And
yeah, they also need to nerf his V-trigger. V-trigger 1 should be 3 bars.
You really think V-trigger 1 should be 3 bars? Would you improve it though if you were to make it 3 bars?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, really?
That is a.
His V-trigger 1 is better than his V-trigger 2 because it's 2 bars. Like, if you get 2, because Ed builds V-gauge from everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, almost all of his combos end in something that builds V-gauge, and he has a lot of crush counters. So you can get 2, and it's an instant V-trigger, there's no timer, so you're getting 2 or 3 of those per game, minimum.
Okay.
And it's a free get-in.
It is a free.
It's 3 or 4 throws, and if you tech the throw wrongly, you're going to eat 300, 400 damage. It's straight into the corner immediately. And that's for 2 bars of V-trigger. So let's say they blocked it out and took 2 throws. They've just lost roughly 300 life, and they're now cornered.
You know what?
Now, let's say you use your V-trigger to get out the corner, and your V-trigger's now gone. He's now got another V-trigger. You're back in the corner with 300 less life again.
That is one of the benefits, I suppose. Again, I don't know. I just feel like there are so many situations where the V-trigger 1 can go wrong, right? Because I swear you can V-shift out of it from certain cancels and stuff, and
not many. Like, it depends on the character as well, but like. Characters have answers to it, but Ed has answers to the counters for most of the time. If it's like Cody swinging it back, you just use V-trigger too.
Yeah, you would pick V-trigger 1 in that matchup to begin with.
Because V-trigger 1 being 2 bars is broken, so they either need to make it 2 bars and make it 5 hits or 4 hits. Like, I don't know why they made it 7. It used to be 5.
I could
or they need to make it 3 bars. Because, like, look at the state of Sagat's V-trigger 1, which is 3 bars.
Yeah, you hurt me deep when you mentioned Sagat like that, bro. You know you hurt me deep. Yeah, it's pretty bad in comparison, I suppose.
Even if you look at, like, also a 3 bar V-trigger. Alright, Seth's V-trigger 1.
Seth V-trigger 1, okay, that's a decent comparison.
Which do you think is better, Seth's V-trigger 1 or Ed's V-trigger 1?
Seth's V-trigger 1 is that the ball?
It's the one where he gets the cancels with the
ball.
Yeah, the follow-ups.
Look, I think Seth's one's better.
I don't know, right? Because Seth's V-Trigger 1, you only get the value on hit, right? It's kind of difficult to get it on block. Edge, you get it on
And
block
with
as well.
Seth's toolkit as well.
Mm.
One is like accents Ed's toolkit so well because if you're playing Dhalsim, you activate that. He can't do anything. He's not cornered. You win.
Because at the moment, I would say Seth's V-Trigger 2 is better than V-Trigger 1. It's like most definitely better at this.
Yeah.
After the buffs.
But the fact you can't say immediately, like Seth's V-Trigger 1 is a strong V-Trigger, and you cannot say immediately that it is better than Ed's V-Trigger 1, which is 2 bars.
All right, okay. You know what? You've convinced me. You've convinced me on the point. It might, in fact, be broken, bro. You've got me with that one.
Just, look, like, if you talk to any like American player and ask them what is the least favorite thing about fighting XMS, they will all say V-Trigger 1 or Ed.
I guess as a lead.
So obviously you're extremely knowledgeable on Ed, but I'm just wondering if there's any Street Fighter 6 characters that have caught your eye, or any character that you feel like you might gel with. Wait, sorry, which one?
Geef and Ryu are the main two.
Geef and Ryu, okay.
It's released.
I DM'd him this a while back. I was like, "Who do you want to play, bro?" And he went, "Geef." I was like, "Excuse me, Geef?" I didn't expect
Geef before he was shown.
His Geef is legit. I've ran into his Geef on ranked. Obviously got clapped. It was not a fun time. But no, the Geef, like, his SF5 Geef is there, and Street Fighter 6 Geef is looking pretty.
Much more
like,
fun.
grapplers in general are looking like strong in that game.
Yeah, even before they like announced Geef, I was saying, okay, I'm playing Geef. The only reason I don't play Geef in 5 is
sucks.
Not even just that. He's just you don't get rewarded for doing the correct thing. Like you can flex something, for example, that has like 1 billion frames recovery, and somehow they still recover.
Yeah, good.
Or like you lariat anti-air and it just loses for no reason.
Trades or
trades and then you lose the round, or like you do an SBD and it hits, and then they wake up DP, they get Oki from it, they back throw you. You're in the corner, you just lost. All that work from just doing crouch jab.
So like, what is it about Geef that kind of draws you to him? Like, I'm talking Street Fighter 6 Geef, right? I mean, Street Fighter 5 Geef, much more of a slot machine in terms of it, and you've mentioned the reasons why you don't like him as much. But like, what is it about 6 Geef in particular that you're thinking, yeah, I want to main this, bro. I'm a grappler at heart. You know what I mean? Like, this is the switch I'm making.
Mind games are fun.
That's
one thing. The other thing is, in 5, I hate how you can hit someone 1,000 times before they're in the corner and they hit you once and they're right back out. Whereas in 6, because drive rush is a thing, and the corner is going to be much scarier as well for both players.
Yes,
it's a lot harder to get out the corner. Unless you spend tons of resources.
Yeah.
Geef is going to be able to get you to the corner much easier. Like crouch jab. Let's say Geef had drive rush in 5. Imagine crouch jab, drive rush as a buffer.
Yeah, that would be very fun to fight against.
Exactly. I want to make people not have fun whilst having fun myself.
See, I think Street Fighter 6, I do think it's easier to get folk in the corner, but I think it's harder to maintain the corner position because of like drive. I mean, that might be his thing that like might change the game. Like
throw pressures. That's the thing.
Throw pressure, yes.
If you're in the corner versus Ken, you have to guess for the throws so many times, and if you tech wrong once, you just lost.
It's horrible.
That's true. Yeah, no, Ken's missed it. But I do feel like hopefully they'll find tweaky things. But that was just my impression. I felt like when I was playing Street Fighter 6, that like
throws, that's the only thing. Yeah.
The throws were the only thing I hated as well. I do think when I get someone in the corner, man, I'd be like,
felt bad, yeah.
maybe I just back up a bit because I don't know what this guy will do. Like maybe this guy will try and drive rush out, drive impact out. This guy will jump. There was so much stuff I had to be mindful of. I couldn't like. It's not like Street Fighter 5 where once you got someone in the corner, you're like, okay, now I can just run my autopilot and be as comfortable as I can. Street Fighter 6, there's too much. There's a lot more other than just throw pressure and whatever. I like the mental stack as well. But I think that's what makes it a bit more better.
I agree. It's like in 5, you're looking for like 2 options, like dash or jump, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas in 6, you have an option to counter every option they can pull with every character because of the way the mechanics work, which means you're not limited to your character's toolkit as much, which is better in my opinion. While still having, imaginative combos that are unique to your character. So if you have someone in the corner and you're doing, say, crouch jabs a lot to pressure, or you're doing throws, whatever, they try and drive impact your jab. You just cancel your jab into drive impact. They just lost tons of life because they gambled wrong.
Yeah.
And they're still in the corner, still taking throws. And if they hit you with a drive rush normal, there wasn't a huge amount of side switches in the game.
Yeah, there's one too many.
Even Ryu's heavy tatsu doesn't side switch.
Yeah.
So if you hit them with, say, crouch mean kick, drive rush, stand heavy punch, heavy tatsu, even though it's not optimal, as Ryu, it's just back mid-screen. You didn't like put them nearer the corner.
Yeah.
So it feels more incentivized for you. But even though like, frame data is weaker, it's more incentivized now for you to like just throw or keep playing neutral with their back to the corner to make it easy for you to space stuff.
Use space and traps.
More than it is just rush them down in the corner and make sure they don't get out. There's smother than that.
I think that's
Which
really
I do like. But you still have, stuff to look out for.
That's one of the things that we saw. I think it was Nephew, right? I think that's one of the things we saw Nephew doing a lot with the spacing traps on Jury. So that's a really good point to make.
Jury's just like really good spacing traps.
Yeah, she seems to play the Street Fighter 6 game very well right now.
I also like all of the longer range heavies, like Jury's stand heavy kick, for example.
Yeah,
they're reactable with parry.
Yes, you can tag them with parry if you're very, very awake. You can tap it and get that perfect.
Yeah, I ain't reacting to that. Like
I was doing that a lot. Like Ryu's heavy donkey kick as well. Anything that has a lot of range and is basically safe is almost always reactable with parry, which I do like.
Yeah,
which is why I think parry scaling is so high.
I do think the parry skill ceiling is the highest thing. I think the parry is the one thing that people haven't like labbed at the moment too much. We're not seeing it much in the gameplay right now, but I feel like it really opens up the pressure because you can't even do jab chains against the parry. If someone does a jab chain and you just tap parry, automatic parry, so you can shut down a lot of avenues of approach just with the parry.
That's true, but that's the thing again with throws being. This is why I don't like throws, because everything is centered around throws on pressure.
Yep.
And I don't like how linear that is.
It's one of the things that I didn't like when I was labbing. I was like, wow, so really I am kind of just like pigeonholed here to just threaten the throw, and that's how I'm going to...
Yeah, throw bait, and throw isn't hugely rewarding, but because of Oki, it's setting up the man again. And if they guess wrong, and there's no invincible DP, like throws are no longer, you can no longer beat throws with light DP.
Yeah, not bootless ones. You can still get it technically, right? But it's going to cost you 2 drive bars, which is a steep cost to pay.
Yeah, you can backdash them now as well. But if you guess wrong on a backdash or a throw tech, you could literally lose that round.
Well, the thing, right? This was like half true and half correct, right? People said, "Oh, the throw whiff frames have been increased, so backdash is now plus, and you can get your turn back after you've backdashed a throw." But most of the situations post throw, as for instance, the Ken throw in the corner, you're +4 after the dash, and if you go for a throw, it actually makes the backdash your favor instead. So you still get your turn back if they've backdashed that throw, if you're Ken in that situation. So it's like the backdashes, whilst they're okay for like, I'm going to say like throws out of neutral, so like jab into throw, you can get away from that, but you can't get away from a meaty throw situation. Makes them a little bit weaker in that regard. So I do agree. I don't really like how the game's very centered around the throw right now. It kind of feels very Street Fighter 5 right in the way that it's centered. Like throw creates the basis for all your responses.
Yeah,
I feel like that could get fixed though. I heard some people. Something I noticed. I thought that throws are a lot more slower in the window to tech them is a bit bigger than SF5.
Yeah.
So like if they make them a tiny bit bigger, so that
reactable almost.
Yeah, a bit more react. If you're that they'll be like reactable if you're away.
To be honest, I was genuinely debating are these throws reactable because it felt like a few times I did tech a throw react.
No, yes, 100% same. Like I felt like I caught them like. So I feel like as long as it's like make folk work to have people like to land a throw, you can't have to catch them slipping. Do you know what I mean? If that's a thing, I think that'd be pretty good.
Also, I think the reason the throw window might be bigger though is like late tech timings in 5 are very linear.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it will make it harder to hit people with like just a heavy kick, as for example Zeku, to beat throw. Because that's just one timing and it'll basically be anything except for mash throw.
Yeah.
Or like Ed doing stun heavy kick as a meaty, for example. So it gives you more leniency in that. But I do agree that like the only thing I don't like is just the pressure is throw or shimmy, and that's the end, which incentivizes neutral, which is kind of what I think they're going for.
Definitely got what they're going for, yeah.
But it also means that because of like if they remove throw loops, it would make it way better. Because that would, or like made throw loops weaker, or you only get them in the corner, but they're weaker in the corner as well. That would make it way better because you're still gonna, be playing neutral more, but you still, have some decent throw pressure. But the way it is now, it's just, you can just get put in a blender from throws.
I feel like we're gonna have that same situation in 5, right, where throws are very dominant in that opening season, and then they end up having to be nerfed on stun and damage.
Everyone hates them.
Yeah, everyone hates them. Nobody really wants to play the mind game around them and get in.
Like, Youth's gonna be really good. For one season, he's gonna get absolutely murdered.
Well, how strong do you think command grab characters are gonna be in Street Fighter 6 right now?
Either gonna be broken or terrible.
No in between.
No in
between.
Like no in
That's how
between.
grapplers always are. There's no in between with grapplers. Like look at Guilty Gear. like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, all those, your grappler is either top tier or bottom tier.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
You don't get many mid-tier grapplers.
Because especially in like 6, I mean, even in 5, right, some characters with normal throws are better grapplers than actual grapplers.
Like Poison.
Poison, you had old Cammy as well.
If I remember correctly, Poison's throw range is actually better than Abigail's like heavy command grab.
I'm pretty certain it is. She has like a 0.85 or something, but Abigail's so wide, right? His number in game for his throw range is technically larger.
It's like 1.6 or something.
Yeah,
but...
it's massive, but it doesn't matter because how wide he is. It ends up being really tiny. It
actually goes nowhere.
Yeah, it goes nowhere at all.
You gotta like phase through them with your grab, and it's like your hand will literally scoop through them and just whiff.
So yeah, you will. I definitely think we might have this situation where it's like, all right, is Ryu a better grappler than Geef, or like is Ken a better grappler than Geef? And it's like, do we even need command throws when regular throws are doing so much for threat on offense?
But I think
command grab.
Yeah, exactly. The way they kind of countered that was that they just made command grabs like just do damage, bro.
There was no OP either. So we saw Geef hit. Sorry, we saw Geef hit like command grabs, and it did like 30% or something mad. But David, like, really, it puts you full screen, and if you do a drive rush to get back in, you're still not in command grab range, but you can threaten buttons. So you spend a little bit of drive gauge to get like one extra button turn. So in theory, you could do command grab, drive rush, button, drive rush, command grab, and that's basically all of your gauge gone.
It's nuts because the command grabs like now do like the same amount of damage as like, let's say, like a combo that's starting from like medium punch. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just like. That's how you make them scary again. So it's like I think that does enough and I don't think grapplers will have like much in the way of combos in order to make them fair in terms of like, because if it's like then it's like G all over again, where like whatever option you kind of go for, you're eating like a chunk of damage. I think that's maybe. Oh, I hate that.
I think G's mechanics were really well balanced for a while. Like the only thing they needed to nerf was the V trigger 1 presidentiality levels equating to V timer.
Yeah.
Everything else could have stayed the same because you had to land multiple hits, and if you got knocked down, you would no longer have those levels, which nerfed your toolkit. So you weren't just like, say Zeku, where you have your toolkit, you just have to stance swap.
That's
you have to get a knockdown, sacrifice your Oki, which means you can't command grab, and do that 1, 2, 3 times to get that max level where the command grab is actually threatening.
I think with G, I don't think he was entirely defined by the command grab. Like obviously, once you got his levels up, his fireballs were good, his anti-air was good. He was very good at like walking you down, and he was still is. Yeah, I'm talking Street Fighter 5 in like past tense.
Back in my day,
I'm fully just ready. I'm looking to the horizon. I'm waiting for Street Fighter 6 and stuff, but and it was that Street Fighter 5 pressure where it was just very easy to kind of loop your pressure into itself, which is what I'm very much glad is gone. Now I'm just realizing we're coming up on the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, we're coming up on 45-minute mark, so
yeah.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and then we'll go for another 45, and yeah. So everyone grab a drink, go to the toilet, whatever you need to do. We'll be back shortly. See you all in a moment. Hello everyone, welcome back. We returned from air break. Hope everyone had a good one. The question that we wanted to lead off with next, these guys were in the middle of a conversation when I got back, so I'll let them go on with it. But we wanted to talk about Ed in Street Fighter 6, right? And how he might be changed, what can be taken out and what can stay, what parts define Ed as a character. I need to adjust Sully's mic, but I'm just going to let you guys run off with it and, from where you were. You may continue.
All good. I think what I was saying is obviously we're talking about like difference in movesets and whatnot. I was thinking, as much as we hate Flicker here, we don't know SF5 Flicker. SF6 Flicker might not be as bad as SF5 Flicker. I just thought that'd be a cool move to add because he's a boxer. I like the 1-2-3. I thought that was cool. I'm seeing Boggins just work real time on my window.
I'm sorry, I have to do it.
That's looking hilarious. I can't lie. But yeah, that was where I was on the Ed conversation.
Yeah, I feel like they just need to like Flicker right now would not work in 6 at all. Mm-hmm. Like I think Upper would still work. I think his Fireball it could still work. Like they need to make it like a different, like accessible differently. Like he should only be able to do the Fireball maybe from like with like Drive Rush or Drive Gauge or whatever. Or like he can only cancel into it, so he can't just be doing it in neutral or whatever.
They'll probably think of something because they do something like this. It's kind of like when what they did with like Kage, where like he didn't get a regular Fireball, he gets like a little on the spot kind of thing.
That would be good.
Where DJ he can do like two Fireballs without EX, which is
he should have. Like his Fireball should be you get one input for Spark and then one input for a Fireball, and they're discernible on which, so you know like you can't get away with that fake pressure anymore. So like maybe Spark is smaller than the Fireball thing, or the Fireball is just a Fireball, rather than having access to both from the same thing.
And I think go on as long as.
I would really like Ed to move more into like a full-on boxer format, personally. I think the idea for like a psycho-powered boxer
his heavy kick should be gone.
Yeah, like I don't really like the kicks so much. If anyone ever...
kicks are broke too.
Yeah, all the kick moves are good. It's like, if they're going to take Balrog out of the game and they want Ed to kind of be presented as a Balrog kind of like apprentice of sorts, I would really, really like them to move into like, I am a full-on boxer, I don't have any kicks. And I would kind of like them to take notes from SFXT Steve, if anyone play that character. I think I mentioned him on the last show. His kicks are sways or movement abilities, or you can have psycho-powered movement abilities, or you just mentioned you could put Spark on one of the kicks potentially.
Maybe his reversal is now like a special.
Things like that, right? Yeah, like you can move around with like the sway on the kicks so that you can get behind people, create cross-up opportunities. It's like that would be like, sick.
That would be sick. Like instead of it, like if you get Oki for example, you can do like the step to go around them. Not like maybe the setups that you can do for a mix-up, but like you can't just do it in neutral because it's really fast. But you can do it on Oki situations.
Yeah, like you'd be able to set like a delayed projectile up into like the side switch, and then be like, oh, it's left, right, guess. Things like that.
Yeah, like a Gato Kami V skill.
Yeah, like a Gato Kami V skill. It'd be sick. It's one of the things that, like, because Eddie's supposed to be like, he's supposed to be Balrog's guy, bro. Balrog's taught him how to fight, but I don't really feel it too much in the gameplay, and I really like my boxers in Street Fighter, but I haven't been too impressed with Street Fighter 5 Balrog. So I'm kind of hoping they can make a big comeback in 6 with the boxer characters.
Yeah.
Like, are you hoping to see what kind of like with like what they did with Geef, where obviously he's a wrestler but didn't do much stuff like a wrestler?
Yeah.
Or with SF6, he looks like exactly like how you see in WWE.
Yeah.
So is that what you're looking for? Is that what you're looking for with like Balrog? He looks more like a proper boxer.
There's a lot more realism now, yeah.
Bobbing and weaving and stuff like that, rather than
like the bobbing and the weaving. And I think one of the best examples of it, right? Like Geef, you mentioned he wasn't too much into the wrestling aspect. I really liked when they added his V-Trigger 2 with the announcer. That was one of the best parts, right? It was like, the Red Cyclone is here!
Yeah.
It's like, it's so sick and it feels great to land, right? And you feel like the character's being presented in like a really cool fashion. It makes you want to play him more. So yeah, I guess there's that element to it, right? Yeah, I mean, he's still trash, absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to get that kind of feeling with Ed in Street Fighter 6. I really did like Ed on release. When I first saw Ed, I was like, yo, he looks really cool, bro. I'm going to play him. And I tried him for a week and I was like, I can't fight him.
Yeah. Ed's design is terrible in every way except for he is fun to play.
Yeah,
His music's crap, his like design visually is crap.
Chemical careless relic
The purple theme is nice, but like that's about it. Even his voice.
Yeah, it's like, there are a lot of things better in 5 particularly that I hope they can evolve from, right? Because in Street Fighter 5, I think Ed's a good example of like just cringe. He's
What
just,
not to do.
Yeah, he's just kind of cringe, bro. So I'm hoping in 6 they can evolve the formula, because I would love to love Ed. Do you know what I mean? I'd definitely play him if he was interesting for me.
Frost taken out of context.
Don't clip me, please. Don't clip me.
obviously because like Ed's like the problem character. I think this takes us on to our next topic here. Like, do you think like characters can vilify players?
Maybe.
So, man, what's a really good instance of this, right? So, somebody can pick Urien, maybe. Is Urien a good example of this? I'm trying to think.
No, I'd say like Ed is a better example.
I was gonna probably say Ed. So, like, you've got you and like Hesscrafters, for instance, who are very nice people, and then you play them, and you're like, God damn it, man!
What are you doing?
This goddamn dude, man, stop! Do you know what I mean? Like, that kind of sense. Like, do you think characters in 5 can do that, other than Ed, right? Like, multiple characters.
Yeah, it's like you're playing against a Geef player and the guy's just doing backdash heavy kick 7 times. When he talks to me, he's like the nicest, calmest guy you ever met. And you're like, why were you doing that?
Literally the kindest person you've ever met.
All of the people who play like they want to just like break into your house and empty all your milk cartons down the drain. They're like the nicest people.
It's the people who play the honest characters, or like, I'm gonna say quote unquote honest characters here, and they end up being like they're bare aggressive when you lose to them, but you're like, why are you playing like that, bro? Why are you so random? Play properly.
I think it's because all the people who play like the worst characters, or like the characters that is, you know, everyone knows are stupid, are like accepted that everybody is going to hate the way they play and they don't care.
Yeah,
this is how you have to win.
It's kind of just like, bro, I know you aren't gonna like the way this is gonna go, but I'm sorry, I've got to do it. I need to
I think a lot of it is just being like when it's not so much about the character, but if you're just playing against like a name on the screen, like CFN NPCs as we like to call them. I think if they play in a way, exactly. Well, Duradol is a legend, right? But if they just play it in a way that annoys me, I just imagine that they're probably like a prick in real life as well. It's just irrational, but like it's just one of those things. And it's like you'll notice that when you start like playing and you've not met the majority of like the EU or UK fighting game scene, and you beat them, you'll notice that you know people will be dragging your name every now and then. But once they meet you, that's when folk are like, that's the difference between a good player and like that guy's proper random, man. Like random is like the dog whistle for like if he's flipping. I think he's a scrub. Do you know what I mean?
He's annoying. I don't like him.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like the cut-off definitely happens offline, right? As soon as you meet them face to face and they're lovely, you're like, I'm so sorry I said these things about you, man. I didn't mean it.
I mean, like, we were all guilty of this thing. How far did we all drag Kalmal when he qualified?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well.
He did well.
He did really well.
But that's the thing, we saw him offline, we saw him as a person, and then we're like, he's doing well. But before that, everyone was like, Kalmal making it to Capcom Cup. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's almost like we just can't help it. Do you know what I mean? That's just what happens when you're mainly online.
I still feel awful for me saying Kalmal didn't be there. That's biggest L I took in Street Fighter 5 for spending easily, man. It was so evil of me.
So, I mean, like, I don't think it was evil. I don't think you should regret saying that, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, like, everyone can agree how weird it was with how Capcom Cup's qualification things was doing. So I think, like, what you said was, like, justified based on the info at hand. But obviously he did well. No one could have seen that coming. We're happy that he did well. But I mean, like, no one's if Capcom announces the same ranking system, like for Capcom Pro Tour, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, not this shit again."
Offline, online, and World Warrior.
Yeah, we've got like a lot of different avenues there to kind of get into Capcom Cup.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
the probably,
People who just want offline premieres are gonna be happy. The people who just want to do online stuff because they're busy, like the one-time events will be happy. And the people who enter all the weeklies and enter the World Warriors.
But do we know how many spots are at Capcom Cup for next year? Did they say how many spots are there?
So.
I think it's weird. I think they're waiting way too long to announce, because like there's a lot of tournaments that have been announced now, but they've like the Capcom Pro Tour hasn't actually been announced yet in terms of like.
No, I don't think it's been properly announced. Like
what's going to be part of it? All we know is like World Warrior, offline premieres, online premieres, money, but no schedules. But I feel like there should be a schedule at this point. Like like people are already booking like hotels and stuff.
Yeah, people are asking for a schedule.
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
It'd be nice to know what tournaments are on that schedule. And as a segue, genius presenter moment. Talking of the next Capcom Pro Tour and Street Fighter 6, we had another debate question, which was: do you think you know of any players right now who will be kind of like dark horses in Season 1 who are going to come out of nowhere and kind of explode?
Sonic Fox, I guess. Oh, do you mean like generally or in the
well,
scene?
like in the entire scene of everyone that you know, doesn't matter if you know them personally, if you've played them online, if you know them from other games, right? Like, who do you think has the biggest chance of exploding? We don't expect to, right? So you can't say like, oh, I think Daigo's gonna do pretty well. You know what I mean?
Wonder Boy, do you know Reitman's brother?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Reitman's brother. Yeah,
he's gotten very good very fast. I think Citizen will do well as well, honestly.
Yeah, I think Citizen will do well. Actually, I mean, Sully's probably more qualified to talk about this than me, but I think the Scotland scene will probably do really well in Street Fighter 6.
I'm already won one, so
yeah.
I mean, like we've currently the most decorated fighting game scene in Street Fighter 6 at the moment. You know what I mean? So we're already off to a good start. No, the jokes aside, though, I do think we're probably going to be one of the stronger scenes in probably in Europe. Like I guess that's probably like a big potentially like a boast if possible. But I think we're active enough. The fact that we're this active after Street Fighter 5 is like there's not really much going on.
Yeah, there's not.
And when you think of like how many strong players we had like a lot of like strong competitors, but we were all strong and competed actively very sporadically. Like obviously right now Soundboy's our top guy right now. He's been consistently winning and he's also been doing well in tournaments as well as SFL and whatnot. And before that you had like your Dark Moon Hados, you had Brian, who is very much like a mainstay the whole time, Citizen as well. But obviously we got our new faces in terms of like people are doing well, like your Setsuna and Hydro. People might he might catch you slipping as well.
Look him up on YouTube.
Like look him up on YouTube, makes amazing videos. Especially for like on how to learn the game, but I digress. But I think there's gonna be a lot. I think like I know that's not a person, but I'm saying Scottish scene as a whole will be pretty strong on that front. Citizen will probably be a good one in terms of like individual players. Will be quite sick. I'm not sure if this guy counts as a dark horse because he was technically good in every game, but Valmaster, I think he's going to be a guy we'll be seeing a lot more of than we saw in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, he took a break, right, and he only really came.
Also, guys like Jervin from the South African scene as well.
Oh yeah, you know the South African scene.
He was so good, man.
Yeah, I love the South African scene, right, because they didn't get a lot of representation by the Capcom Pro Tour, and I think they've actually. Wasn't it guaranteed that they've got an online slot this year at least, minimum?
Yeah, good because I played him on like sets and he was bodying me a lot of the time. It was only like towards the later sets that I finally started winning. Like he beat me like 10-2 on the first day I got there.
Oh, wow, really? Damn.
Yeah, I got smoked.
Those little secret South African killers, bro. That's kind of hype.
South Africa
played really well. Red was also really good as well.
Like Hurricane's been bigging up for a while, saying like, "Yo, there's a lot of really strong players here, and Capcom, if they just like give them a chance, like they will kill."
Yeah, that's the maddest thing is that like they haven't got the same represent. Like you can't just go into Battle Lounge with like Problem X like you can here.
Yeah.
Over there, like if you look at Ren and Jabim's profiles, they're literally only like running sets versus each other because ranked is that dead.
Yeah, it's that dead. They haven't got enough people to play with. Which is, I mean, that's one of the big things about 6, right? That netcode's going to look, we can probably play them. Do you know what I mean?
We can.
Without any issues.
I think the netcode's good, but I don't know if we'll be that good.
We could probably play them.
You can. No, you can. I tried.
I was playing a friend who lives in, I think, in Texas, which is like, all right, comparable distance, and it was pretty damn playable. So yeah, I think that will be very realistic.
I played against someone in Singapore, and it was fine.
Singapore, that's nuts.
This netcode is magic, and I wouldn't underestimate what we could do.
It was like 3 bars in 5, but they were in Singapore, which it's pretty damn far.
Yeah, obviously.
For Singapore, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to, I mean, 3 bars. If it's playable,
It was more than playable.
If you can see what's happening, I feel like that's a win enough.
I could see the jump,
win
which
is a
is
win.
more than it would be in 5. I can see the jumps and I could see the dashes, so.
That'll be fun.
I feel like that's potentially a good question to branch from, right? In terms of dark horses, what regions do you think will explode? Because there's a lot of things that are going to change with 6 in terms of how regions can level up. Predominantly to do with net play, because now the net play is going to be more accessible. Multiple regions can get more playtime, right? So I think a good example is someone like Kalmal. Online, he lives in Bulgaria, I believe, so he may not be open to play every country within Europe. But with the Street Fighter 6 net play, all of a sudden players like this have a really large, broad player pool to level up from. So which regions do you guys think will get the biggest kind of like level up when Street Fighter 6 drops?
Italy.
Italy.
The Italian scene.
Now they're able to interact with the rest of us. I think obviously like the one that's like I'm always gonna say Scotland. I think Scotland will be the biggest beneficiary of it, but. No bias, bias and no bias, whatever. That's what I'm saying. But I think Spain's probably a good shout as well. Spain,
yeah.
We might get some like guys coming out of the Middle East as well in terms of Netherlands. Netherlands is just Momi though, is it not? Momi and
Snowboy
and
Ras, Snowboy.
That's right, Ras is there.
Yeah, Ras is there.
Ras is there. I remember Hiroko. I don't know if Hiroko will keep playing, but.
I know Hiruko, but I don't know if they play anymore.
But it's I mean, like the thing is, nothing was holding the Netherlands back with Street Fighter 5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they were
like,
in a good location. They were fine. It's more of if they're just able to come together as a community and level each other up.
Oh yeah, I'm talking in terms of like the net play opening. Like Mystic just mentioned it in chat, right? Saudi Arabia. That is a potential one where, like Saudi Arabia, they have strong players. They have Big Bird, they have Angry Bird, they have, I believe his name's V Slash, or that might be the sponsor. It might be.
Are they Saudi or are they? You just mean like general like Arab place? Because like, I think in terms of.
Well, UAE, I suppose. UAE.
Yeah. Big Bird, and Big Bird and Angry Bird are UAE.
But there's
I don't know about Saudi players.
There's like a pool of players from like the UAE region.
Yeah, from the general Arab like area.
Arab.
I agree. Man like Volcano Rosso.
Volcano Rosso, yes.
Yeah, bro.
There's another one in Angry Bird and Big West region. What's his name again? There's like the trading partner of the two.
Is it the Colleen player?
No, it's the Aura player.
Oh man, all right, they've lost me. I know.
They play like Oro Honda and stuff like that.
No, the name's not coming to mind. But I do know that they have a selection of strong players who don't really get to play outside of the region like the Birds do, right? Because they get the privileges because they're known more. So I do think that area will level up quite a lot with the expanded player pool options because they're probably quite limited.
Do you understand like South Asian representation, like so like your India and your Pakistan and whatnot? Because obviously Pakistan showed up out of nowhere, started bodying everyone in tech.
For tech.
Do you think with the Street Fighter 6 that we might get something similar?
Maybe, but like playing Angry Bird and Big Bird is I got bodied in like Angry Bird beat me like 30 to like 6.
That's rough.
On 6, I got absolutely destroyed.
All right. So just for the audience who may not be able to see, but EndingWalker is currently playing Citizen. He's picked Alex into his Falk.
I'm not playing the Falk where it's too boring.
Yeah. Oh no one blames you. So if you hear me like going like assume Citizen is one. It's bad form to root against the guest, but you know what I mean. You know how it is.
I'm gonna have to be the neutiral party in this. I hope they both have a great time. Personally, I hope they both have a good time. I'm just happy people playing Street Fighter. This is what it's all about. It's community building. Yeah. So I think that Yeah, I think I personally do think that South Africa is going to be that biggest level up right now. You mentioned it right with Pakistan in the terms of like, will we see them explode? I remember it was Arslan Ash. He mentioned that he went, Street Fighter is not very big in Pakistan. We are generally very, very cemented on Tekken. I think he mentioned. I think he was in a Rebel interview. Yeah. He just said that the community, like the strongest community by far, right? The one that has the most players is Tekken. But I would be wondering to see if we see any players explode from those different regions. And I feel like 6 is the game to do it, right? Because it has all of the facilities for you to go online and just play people that you otherwise could not in any of the other Street Fighter games.
I think geographically it would probably be the Middle East or a North African country like, Morocco or something like that. We do get, we have all ran into like a Moroccan player at CFN at some point.
Oh yeah.
I think with better connection, who knows? Morocco could be our Pakistan. You know what I mean? I think, but that's like I'm making that assumption just mainly based on he got you there, didn't he? I think just that take is coming completely out of like a geographical sense rather than rather than the fact that I know some killers down there in Morocco.
Like I know man down there.
Trust me, like my cousin Abdul, he'll bust your heads. But let's see. Is there any way you can get like EndingWalker's game on like our stream?
Yeah, I can get it up. I was literally about to go and fetch it. Let me grab this. I don't know if SML has any rules against restreaming these events, so I apologize.
I don't think there is. Listen, we'll take it to court in it.
We'll take it to court, bro.
We've got good lawyers over here in the behind the sticks offices, so we'll be fine.
There we go. So we currently we currently have EndingWalker playing in Winners Final Series first to 3. It's good. I guess we just play by play this, isn't it? And just commentating on our end.
We're just commentating on our end, so we're just literally just like good escape from EndingWalker.
So like,
gets out of the corner. Just up Steve to take the round.
Oh my
god!
He thought I'd wake up super, so he did meaty DP, and my knee went through him.
Showing him again why he was a Capcom Cup qualifier. Clutching the game out, goes one game up.
By doing dash up sweep.
Why? So like, you mentioned it earlier, right? But like, why else do you think Alex is good in this matchup, other than the EX need to beat all the air for free?
Because you can actually whiff punish. Like his whiff punishes don't often whiff.
Okay, that's a pretty damn good reason against this character.
And you can just like spam elbow.
Do you have any trouble when Falk kind of just sits there doing nothing with stock charged? Do you know what I mean? When she's just like the threat of nothing.
Nah, sometimes. Not usually.
Did you already play Alex, or did you pick up Alex purely up for this matchup?
I played Alex a little bit, but mainly just for this matchup.
Alright, so
it was with like Balsam and stuff.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
So like, I was gonna. Like, my next question was going to be like, is that how you knew? Is that how you assumed that he'd probably win this match? Because he typically doesn't get well against these types. Like I'm pretty sure he does well against Manat as well.
He does well against Manat and Dalsim, yeah.
Yeah, that does look like it. I'll get scooped.
We are in.
That's Alex, baby.
Oh my goodness.
His light kick did not move up. We take those. But yeah, I think Alex is an interesting character because he typically does well with this archetype. I feel like this matchup is even though, honestly.
You think? I can see that, right? I can definitely see it being even. I feel like Falk. She's a very specific. You need a very specific kit in order to beat her, and not many characters have it.
Like 3 do. I learned 7 characters for Falk.
And each one was like,
only Alex and Cody felt even remotely decent.
You think Cody feels decent?
How does Zeku play into her?
I think Zeku has the best toolkit for beating Volk. It's just you have to be so aware of everything and all the spacings that you just can't. It's just the mental stack is way too high.
Yeah, it just falls apart. Is this one of the characters as well where like when you pick them up right, you're like, yo, I kind of like the grappler.
Yeah, I like
mental stack. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of for this. Have you thought about Manon as well for Street Fighter 6, or are you?
It's a thought, but probably not.
Because I feel like the momentum and the neutral that she plays, you probably might like it.
Oh well.
Oh, we are really raw sweeping like that, bro.
Shut up. So nothing.
Well, that's how you play. I mean, I will forgive any. What was that? Let's go, bro. This character is
this
stupid.
character, man. Nah, this character, man. Nah.
Nah, you're fine, bro. You're fine. Nah, you're not fine. You're not fine. It's over. It's over. It's over.
Nah, let him cook. Let him cook.
Bro,
He's not cooking.
what was that? I don't know if you saw that EXO level there. That was one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen.
So what happened there? You did the EX like.
I did EX
rising-
knee to try and beat his thing. It just barely whiffed, and his EX air file like clipped me underneath him during my EX knee.
This is one of the things. This is one of the changes that I don't like, right? It's like EX flicker and EX fireball. With Falk, I feel like it's inherently more annoying because she can do it in the goddamn air. But she saves herself in situations where she's making misplays with the EX, and you can confirm that you've misplayed as well, and then just commit the bar to save yourself. It's very annoying.
Yeah, no, stuff like that should not be in fighting games. You need to be able to like, it needs to be like a one-time resource, not like a V trigger activation, rather than like an EX bar. Do you know what I mean?
It's like I feel like it's like the fact that you can check these things, right? Like when I do an EX move with like most characters, I'm just committing to it a lot of the time, or I'm hit confirming to it.
Yeah.
Like Ed and, well, not Ed as much, but like Falk can do like a really bad fireball and go, oh no, this fireball's bad, I'm gonna take damage, and then just go, oh okay, let me just drop a bar real quick, save myself. Not too big on this. Oh, the crush medium punch.
Oh wow. Oh, okay, those. Please don't be shift.
Hold on.
Damn.
Start something? V shift out? No.
I got me DP'd. But yeah, this matchup is very annoying sometimes. Like, even every matchup is annoying versus Falk, to be honest. Like, bruh.
Yeah, no, Falk's a pain. It's sweet.
Sully's just trying his best and it looks smug right now. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, well, me, I'm just like, oh no, that's a bummer there.
That's so sad you lost. No way.
No, that's crazy.
Stay at that button.
Not
Yeah,
Scotland
this
winning
point.
another. So, oh no, that's crazy.
Look at it. What is it? Why, bro? It's so gross. Nice.
Nah, hold on, let him cook.
That was nice.
I realize you're behind because I'm watching the Discord stream. It's
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
obviously-
Yeah. It's a little bit behind.
Scoop.
Okay, there we go.
Scoop,
I
is he
think I've
dead?
gotten like,
Yeah.
I've got 3
Is he-
rounds from that.
That's a grappler life, man.
You're getting him with the
What's that
gotchas. You're getting him with the gotchas. It's just how it is. Oh no, that's
I hate false jump medium punch as well. It's actually a criminal button.
bad hit to take.
I hate all her medium punches, man. They all stress me out.
Let you at the corner. Okay, we take those.
No, it's Seamus as well.
Let's get scooped.
Uh-oh.
Good shift.
Stompy stomp.
Good.
We're out though.
Good. That was a really good V reversal there. Yeah. That's about to be some damage there.
Oh,
Why is it not possible to make that button whiff as well? And even when you do, you can't punish it.
look at this.
Yeah.
Look at that stew. Okay,
Oh,
okay, this is
okay.
bad. Well, you got V shift though. You got V shift.
Is that you in the woods? Yeah, that is
Alright.
you.
Time to swap to Cody.
Cody, okay.
So,
Cody.
why do you think Cody Falk is good, bro? Because Cody Falk is not good.
You can whiff punish in like anti-air occasions. But, like, I could just stick with Alex, to be honest.
You can, don't make me influence your choice.
No, I'm
here.
actually gonna pick Alex. I don't know, because I know if I pick Cody, it's just gonna be him jumping everywhere.
That's true.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can see it happening because it's happened before.
Exactly. We all saw it happen in the past, didn't it? So here we have EndingWalker sticking with the Alex pick. Good stand medium punch confirmed. Gets him closer to the corner. Citizens showing up a fight. Not letting himself get pushed in.
It's just criminal. And that.
Oh, this is
And
just this is footsies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I love this.
Oh, he's preying on the
There we
impatience.
go.
He's preying on it.
There we go.
He knows. Nice. That's a big hit. Hasn't got bar. Has a bar now.
Mm-hmm. EndingWalker.
Is he gonna reversal out? No, he's just gonna press buttons. Ow! Guess
No, it finally whiffed.
That's a rough one.
That's unfortunate. I deserve to lose that though.
Easy comeback. I'm thinking.
You did not see me sweep.
That's all good, bro. That's just part of the matchup at this point, huh?
I mean, you both buffering like crazy, innit? We just take those.
Yeah, on God, we just be buffering in the dunya, bro. Good anti-air. Oh, triple jab. Caught him jumping.
Me too. Very nice.
EndingWalker doing a really good job keeping Citizen in the corner here. Gets hit
Yeah,
with a
Citizen.
V-trigger activation.
He's buttonsy. Back throw to corner. Yeah.
Out of there.
Oh. Bro, wouldn't you be buttonsy with Falklo? On God, I would never block.
Oh, I hit confirm. Okay. Did you just do that, or did you confirm that?
Nah, that's a hit confirm.
I don't believe him.
You can do EX knee or EX stomp depending on if it hits or not.
Oh, okay. Alright, we got V-Skull online.
Character, man. The actual just
literal state.
Yeah. It's actually just criminal.
Oh, I don't understand why she gets a full conversion off of that name, man.
Oh, here we go. In the woods.
Argstone.
Twitter highlight time. Let's go. Good back throw.
No. Also, this linking is also ridiculous. I have to take a throw.
Unlucky.
Not dead.
That's you.
Am I dead?
Just
No, I
don't.
think you're dead,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm dead.
Yeah, you're definitely dead, yeah.
I hate Falk. I can't beat this character, man. It's just too much.
Hey, you saw it here first, folks. You got insider information. Falk, fucker, innit? Silly
You have to
character.
go to slight, no, you can't just, like, play it once, so-
Whatever.
Yeah, he played well. Ish. We're not going to talk about the 93 neutral jumps, though.
Hey, man, skill issue, to be honest.
Hey.
You know.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I felt like there was a point there where Citizen went, yo, I can tell he just doesn't want to be here on this fucking matchup right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep going.
And then I just held it forward.
Yeah.
But to be fair, right? That's how I handle matchups. I think like in terms of like when I'm up against someone, I try to do all like the dumb shit they hate about my character, just more to damage their mental rather than like outplay them. Is that scrubby? I don't mind be, but that's just how I play, innit? Like, I want you to be able to something. It doesn't work on Boggins because Boggins tries, you know, what I mean, he's very sweaty.
You just say it, I'm just very sweaty. It depends who you're playing, right? It doesn't work too well against me because I won't get annoyed at characters. I'll just be like, oh crap, I've got to beat this now. Damn it.
It's not even just Falk, it's just Capcom.
It's Capcom. It's Capcom, bro.
My man gets hit, so why?
I'm not gonna blame Citizen, he plays well, but like Capcom is the perpetrator. They gave these tools.
Bro.
Somebody sat down and thought EXI5 was a good idea.
I've never heard anyone go, bro, it's the publisher at this point. I can't. Do you know what I mean? It's the publisher, man. I can't.
No, people say it in different ways. People will get hit by like a weird bum and be like, Capcom, please, hello.
Nah, Ed and Falk are mistakes from Capcom. Just blame them.
Ed and Falk are definitely mistakes. I think that. I mean, Ed and Falk are just like it's the same characters as well. Like they're both like the simple input characters, and they're both kind of like together in the lore thing. But now they made like easily the most like frustrating characters to fight against.
I feel like it's a good topic to end on, right? Because I feel like Falcon and Ed are a product of like, well, EndingWalker mentioned it earlier, but it's a product of like buffing characters without kind of like dissecting the weaknesses. You kind of just slowly take weaknesses out of the kit, and then it's like, oh crap, these characters are really, really powerful now. Like, are you guys hoping that they adjust the way that they approach balance in Street Fighter 6 with a patch theory? Because a lot of 5, right, was just like, let's make these characters better without kind of thinking, is this the smart idea?
I think 2 balance patches a year is enough for me, but I'm curious to hear what EndingWalker thinks about it.
I think that the balancing should be, they need to, like, if loads of top players are saying this is ridiculously broken, you nerf something, and if loads of lower level players are saying this is really, really bad, you buff it.
Okay.
Because somebody who is a lower level player will be able to tell when something is weak if they can't ever abuse it versus anyone. And a high level player is going to understand if something is strong if they can never counter it.
Right.
So if you like listen to the community and kind of just like pick certain things out and then rebalance around it by making it a little bit stronger or, you know, nerfing something.
Yeah.
That would work way better than just, you know, nobody asked for Falk to get EXFL. They wanted more combo consistency. Like, same for Ed. I've literally only ever asked for more combo consistency. So, and like, that's it. Like, all I asked for was crash, beam, punch, upper to hit max range. Not even as a whiff punish. Just max range.
The max possible range for a combo.
They gave him... They said they wanted to buff his neutral, but what they actually did was just remove any neutral.
Yeah, like linearized it to a point where it's like I don't want to do anything else.
Instead of making his neutral stronger, they just like made him like they made his ability to bypass neutral stronger.
Yeah, they made it irrelevant to play neutral.
It's similar to characters like Chun, right? Characters that we deem like neutral strength characters. Generally, like to be strong in neutral, you need a tool where you don't have to think as much. Because that makes you good in neutral in most scenarios where you can just do it over and over.
But like Flicker was, you didn't have to think about it much before, but it wasn't high reward. Now you just hit them once and they're in the corner and no more neutral. You don't even have to think.
A lot carry.
Like the reason they gave it so much corner carry, I think, is because they didn't want him to get Oki. But rather than just giving it more recovery, they just made it launch them. Like, just give it more recovery on hit.
With balances, do you think that patches should address characters that have low play rates? Because I think that is also something with Street Fighter 5 where there are characters with low pick rates that get buffs just because they aren't seen that much.
No, I don't think that's a good way to do it. Because like Manat and Falk have low pick rates.
Yeah, they have low pick rates.
And yet they're both really strong.
Well, I mean, like Manat had low pick rates in general, but she did get a lot of love in like high level plays. I think that's why people knew
she got love in high level.
Yeah, but it's still low. Like Falk has been doing well in lots of tournaments recently as well.
Yeah, Falk's been getting a lot of traction, and she was one of the lower pick rate characters. I assume she got a lot of love in probably response to, we don't see many Falks in our stats. Let's give her a little bit of juice.
Yeah, Ed was kind of in the same boat, but now he's like the 12th most played because
he's played a lot now. People are picking him up
because he's easy and broken. And like anyone who says that Ed is not broken is just like, or like he has weaknesses, or he loses a matchup that isn't Falk lying.
They're just tripping.
Yeah, he only loses. I think his only matchup that he can't win is Falk.
I've got a question for you. This might low-key might be a decoy. Like, how do you find, like, especially when you're like coming up and becoming a bit more prominent amongst like the EU scene, do you find people like talking trash about how strong Ed was? Did you find that getting to you at all?
No, I just laughed and said, "Cope."
Yeah, literally. Cope, bro.
It's like I don't mind you complaining about a character or any character if you actually know how to fight them. But when I'm hitting you with 73 fake things and you go, and this is broken, it's like, nah. Just learn the matchup.
I respect that. I respect that.
That's the way to go. But a lot of people do like the fighting community has like a bad habit of kind of just like parroting opinions that they see a lot on Twitter in terms of like who's strong and who isn't. Yeah. In terms of characters and whatnot. So like that's something like that's something that would like bug me as well. And then people would say like, oh, is exactly busted? And I'm like, I'm not even hitting you with the busted stuff yet.
People will say like his quick rise is strong, or his back rise, quick rise like is hard to stun away.
Hard to see.
Strong, or like or like people will also say that like his damage or stun is too high, which it is.
Yeah.
But they're not looking at things like the state of his crouching medium punch, or his stand heavy punch, or old Zeku's stand light kick, or young Zeku's stand light kick.
So it's like young Zeku's stand light kick kind of got regulated.
It got nerfed. Still good though.
Yeah, that ridiculous though.
That went from +3 on block to minus. That was
+3 once.
Yeah, it was +3 once.
It was +3 on block. That button used to carry me through neutral.
It's still +6 to be fair on counter hit.
Still very good.
I had to stop using it though. Like I didn't want that.
It's still really good in neutral. It's got like a wall for a hitbox.
I was about to say it's got a lot of active frames. I think it's got 4 actives for a light, which is a lot for a light attack.
For a light.
Yeah, it's very good. But I took out my muscle memory because I was too shook.
It's really hard to challenge. Like you can just poke away with it because more often than not, it's gonna hit. It just goes that far.
It'll stuff a lot of things as well. It's similar to like Cody standing light kick. You can kind of just throw it out and hope it hits something and then buffer it.
Yeah, Cody's stand light kick's another criminal though.
Yeah, it's very criminal.
I think the thing that makes Cody stand like kick scary is that he gets EX zonk out of it.
Yeah, he gets the zonk and the rifling.
He should not be able to get level 3 EX zonk off of stand light kick.
Definitely not.
That shit is nuts. Like low key, like when I see like the damage
from stand heavy punch, if I'm honest.
From stand heavy punch.
Yeah, because it's 6 frames.
Yeah, 6 frames. It's quite fast.
Crouch first, or maybe crouch medium punch. But not stand medium punch because that goes way too far in a second pummel.
Yeah, I agree. Should slow it down a little bit.
Cody's also a very strong that like character that you will like get one normal clip by a light, and next thing you know you're just like dead. It's just like.
I think a good question to end on as well, because we're getting towards time, is with the release of Street Fighter 6, right? We already know Ed's coming to the game. We know he's season 1. We know he's going to be in there. Do you have any loyalties to Ed, or do you literally only? Not at all. All right, cool.
If he's fun, I'll play him. If he's not fun, then bye.
That's fair play. Yeah, no, I like that in it because so you are more about fun and obviously competitive viability over everything, like characters.
Nah, I don't care about competitive viability.
Oh, you don't even care about competitive viability? Okay, okay. I respect it.
If the only reason I don't play Geef is because he doesn't feel rewarding to play, so he is not that fun.
Oh right, okay, so it's like a feeling thing. Okay, yeah, I get it then. I get it. Not the strength.
Yeah, if I'm doing something like committing to a hard read, and then it's hitting, and I feel like I'm not really getting anything off of it.
Yeah.
It kind of defeats both. So even if the character is low tier, if it feels like you get rewarded for doing the correct option or like reading them correctly, it feels fine.
I mean, usually like that, like if you get rewarded, like what makes a character like low tier is probably like the fact that you don't get rewarded for like making the right read and stuff like that.
It's like it's toolkit limitations. Like
I know
Geef has very few tools. Like for example, say I'm playing I don't know Ryu, and I know they're going to do a I don't know a button, and I buff a crouch and kick, EX don't kick. That feels rewarding. Now let's say I'm playing Geef, and I know and I see them whiff. I press stun light kick, I do lariat, and then it whiffs.
But that's what I mean. That's why Geef is low tier and Ryu isn't, because
I kind of get where he's coming from though, right? Because it's like the plays feel rewarding to make as well, right? Because I play like Cerise and Granblue a little bit, and when you make an outplay with Cerise, it feels amazing because you get like damage, it looks cool, it feels great to land. But he's not very good in the game because he's very linear in the way that his options work. So even though you're making these really fun outplays, like the reward for them doesn't end up feeling very explosive. It doesn't feel like, oh man, that was so cool to land, bro. And I feel like that's what that's what you want out of characters, right? You want that feeling of like, yes, that was sick. Do you know what I mean? Like that feeling.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what I get. To me, like it sounds like for me, I'm very much the same. I like my characters to feel rewarding, but a lot of that is just tied to being like good. Like for me, a character feel rewarding means like, okay, I will be able to win around off of the same amount of correct reads that other strong characters have.
For me, a character that is rewarding is a character that can have the correct read on something, do an option, and that option lead to, you know, a knockdown. Not necessarily just damage, just a knockdown.
like the ability to...
Nah, because here's the thing, right? If that character got that knockdown and he did like significantly less damage, you would not be playing that because that wouldn't feel rewarding at that point.
But it would feel rewarding because I had the correct read. I had an option. I did the option worked correctly. I can now do other options and make something more happen from that. Like Ed, for example, I can sweep Bison stun heavy punch as a whiff punish.
And then you're in.
If I whiff my heavy punch, he can do his stun heavy punch and do infinitely more damage. But because I still have an option to deal with a whiff, it feels rewarding to go for.
And like, whereas with like a Geef, like you're limited on the potential of your outplayers at certain ranges, so it doesn't feel that you've got ways to get rewarded.
You hit them with like 15 stunning punches, Bison it's you with one stun heavy punches.
Yes.
Like but you haven't got an option that will do that sort of thing that he can do. Whereas if you get knocked over there, you have.
You can't sweep. You've got no ways to like gain a combo off of that. You can't really buffer too well. I get what you mean.
But I still think that's just like that's just a shit character.
We're
using Geef's example because he's trash.
That's not a reward. Like if you have like two characters where like one one particular outplay, like I do think damage is a big part of what makes an outplay rewarding. Do you know what I mean?
We're slowly but surely exposing the fact that EndingWalker is a tier whore, isn't it? Like slowly but surely.
No, I am. I play Ed, Deku, Cody, Alex, Ryu. I play Bison. I play every single decent character in this game. I do not play Nash.
That's because like here's the thing, the top tier characters are fun, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like
Zeku's fun.
Exactly, Zeku is sick. That's why I play him so much, innit? I found Balrog fun. I found Nakali fun as well.
Balrog's boring.
And then Balrog was, but again, like they were fun to a point, and then when I found them boring, I switched. Do you know what I mean? That was mostly because I was also anticipating nerfs, but like that's another thing. But like still,
hey.
I found the next fun character. I didn't wait for Balrog to get nerfed. I jumped to Zeku.
You just jumped.
You jumped shit before it starts thinking.
Well, exactly. That's like I'm 3 for 3 at the moment. But like characters being strong is like very much like an important part of them feeling. Like,
there is like an inherent like link in it. Like if a character's top tier, like they're gonna feel sick to play. It's generally how that train goes.
Like if Zeku had like half the damage output that he has now, I wouldn't fuck with that character. You like, I'd be straight back to Balrog, bro.
It's like it looks cool, innit? And then you look at the red bar, you're like, that's not doing too much for me, actually. That's not.
Right, trying to buy this game to work harder than everybody else. What do you think this is?
I'm hoping and praying I land on a good character in 6, bro. Marissa, please be good, bro, please.
Bro, I'll land on a character for the last thing. A good character for the last thing I do.
I'm top tier in 6, bro. I had like the worst spreadsheet of characters for 5.
That's why you don't like rewarding characters, isn't it?
I like shit characters. Innit? You man got me. I like shit characters.
Cody, though.
I did look at Cody, and then I hated him because of the level 2 EX song.
Because he became rewarding.
EndingWalker, Ending's got to agree with me, bro. Level 2 EX song. Do you feel sick when it lands? I'm just like, they just didn't block, bro. Sick. That's great, man. Cool.
I feel sorry because they just lost most of their life.
You guys have weak mental. I could be getting outplayed the entire round, and if I land a level 7 tap, I'm like, yo, skill issue, get bodied.
I'm literally a top tier doomer, bro. I'm a top tier doomer. It's like, oh, bro, this character's good. I need to work harder. Get this off. Let me switch.
Bro.
That was the decent one to end on. I like that.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah, that's a good one.
We're coming to time, guys, so we're gonna close it here. Have you got any closing thoughts, Sully?
Closing thoughts. I'm very excited to see all the returning phases for Street Fighter 6. I'm very keen to see how EndingWalker will perform.
Oh, yeah.
After his dominating final year in Street Fighter 5.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of eyes are going to be on you. So you know what I mean. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out. I'll be looking forward to seeing everyone come back. I've already mentioned our picks for who will do well next season. But just looking forward for that.
And EndingWalker, it's been fantastic having you on, bro. You've been a great guest. And I mean,
me on.
no worries, bro. You can come on again whenever you want to. And obviously, one thing I've got to say is, bro, good luck on Soulmine.
Yeah, I'm playing Hurricane right now.
Good luck, bro. Okay. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time. See you later, boys.
Yeah.
Doodles.